Hey guys, it's the Chad, your C10 truck nerd. Well, if you've been keeping up with the channel, you know we're just about to wrap up my 30x40 dream shop. We've been hitting it hard for months, but unfortunately we've just kind of stalled out, and that's because I ran out of money. Part of the deal of getting this shop was the wife was going to get a patio and a new deck, and unfortunately the price of lumber has just skyrocketed since we finished the building, and it's expensive. So whoever makes lumber prices in the US, you suck. Now, I have been able to go through and sell a bunch of truck parts, so I think I have just enough money to go out and buy some paint, a little bit of rock, and maybe a culvert, but we'll see. Sucks. Over the last few months, we've gone through and tore down the deck, regraded the whole backyard, put in a retaining wall, a patio, a sidewalk, built the shop, put in a yard, which I highly recommend you guys don't do in August and September unless you want to spend hundreds upon hundreds of dollars on water. But I did get the grass to germinate, which is awesome. Now we need to go through and wrap up the outside of the building. I got it all caulked, got the soffit vents in. I think we're ready for paint. So before we do that, I want to go through and wash the building off. I was going to power wash it, but we've had several rains, believe it or not. So I just want to get all that mud that a lot of the siding just sat on the ground through many rainstorms at the beginning. So I want to get that mud off, get all the sawdust off of it. That way we get good paint adhesion. So once I get that done, it's time to shoot over to Sherwin-Williams. Well, when it comes to paint, I always choose to go to Sherwin-Williams. I think they have some of the best quality paint that's on the market. Now, years back, or not years, about 4 years ago, I went through and painted the outside of the house. I went down and got some Behr Premium Plus from Home Depot because it was on sale, and I've pretty much regretted it ever since. If I go through and rub my finger down our paint and you get some like chalky residue on your finger, it's because that paint has a high clay content, which is not good. Sherwin-Williams, they don't use that. That's why their paint lasts so much longer, and you pay a little bit more money for it, but there's always a workaround. A while back, I went through and made a video on my secrets of saving money at Sherwin-Williams, and that's as easy as going through and signing up for their email list when they have coupons, being a contractor, or you can go through and just pay attention to their sales. Right now, they had their paint and stains 40% off, so it still makes it just crazy expensive, but it's kind of bearable. We chose Cornwell Slate is the green-gray color that we're going to use to match the house. And when it comes to the trim, we're going to use super white or ultra white. The rest of the house is kind of a creamish color because we're trying to match the almond windows of the house. But now all the windows and doors of this thing is white, so I think I'm going to try white and see how it turns out. And if it's wrong, then I'll go have them tint it and do it the right way. So let's go. So another thing I need to do is go through and prime this rough cedar, which I know is kind of painful for some of you guys. It is very expensive and beautiful wood, but I'm just the doer. The wife's the designer and she wants it to match the house, so that's what I'm gonna do. But before you go through and just paint on top of this, you do need a primer. I recommend an oil-based primer. I've been using Zinsser Cover Stain for years. This stuff works great. It's tried and true. So I'm going to go through, put a few coats of it on here. What that oil base is doing is stopping the oils and tannins of coming out of this new fresh wood. That way your paint doesn't yellow in a couple years once you've got it on there and you're like, what happened? So use that oil base, cover it up. Then I'm going to go through and do the last bit of caulking here, and then we can top coat it. So last night, the wife and I had date night, and we went to a Travis Tritt concert, which was phenomenal. I've wanted to see that guy for the last 25 years, and it was great. Now he's 60, but he's still bringing it like he's 25 years old. So who's your guys' favorite old country and western bands? And I'm talking real country music, like 90s and back, not any of this pop or country and rap. Travis calls it crap, which I agree with. Now I like rap, just not with country. So type down the little clickety-clack. Who you like, Willie Whalen, David Allan Coe? Let me know. So that should do it for all the prep work of the outside of the building. I was able to go through and wash the whole thing, go through and put a couple coats of oil-based primer on that rough cedar, run the last bead of caulking around the weather stripping for this overhead door. Now we've just got to let it dry overnight and we can start splashing some color on it tomorrow. That'll lead to the question of, how am I going to paint the building? I know I should probably spray it and save a bunch of time, but that's not what I'm going to do. I just don't have sprayer anymore, first off, but lots of buddies have offered to let me use theirs, but I've got kids, so about every 15 minutes I'm called back to the house for an undetermined amount of time. So setting the sprayer up, getting half or 3/4 a gallon of paint in the hose, then I'm scared that, you know, it might set up or dry before I can get back out here. It's just kind of a pain. So I'm going to use a paintbrush. I like manual labor, I truly do. So if I can come out here a couple hours at a time and kind of put music on, decompress, that's really good for my own mental health. So hopefully we can jump back on that tomorrow and have good weather and start painting. What is on my face? Oh, awesome. Thanks for telling me I have paint on my lips. So I gotta give a shout out to one of our subscribers because he left a comment and said, Chad, don't even bother picking the paint color yourself, just let your wife do it. And should have took that advice, but I didn't. Listen to the guy at Sherwin Williams. We bought the ultra white paint and she hated it, so I went back and now we have natural almond. So quick tip, listen to your wives, that way you don't do it twice. You want that caterpillar? I don't want to. Oh, there he goes.
Get him up. Nope, just pick him up. Hey, don't squish him. Here, flip him over. Caterpillar man.
Let's get some leaves for him. Good thing I didn't paint him up. So like I've said in the past, if you're patient enough, you can pretty much find anything you're looking for on Marketplace. And I need sod because I didn't get all that grass out back to germinate, and I'm just not patient anymore. I found a guy that somehow ordered 350 extra sheets of it, and I don't know how you do that, but he did, and he needs to dump it before it dies. So he said, hey, come get as much as you want for $2. So I'll give you $1.50, and he said, just come get it. So it's blowing 500 miles an hour today. I don't really want to do this. I did bring some help. Penny, You can help Dad? She's gonna watch as I load all this up and we'll get it laid down tonight or tomorrow. So I've just wrapped up the majority of the trim work, and I always like to start there. That way when I'm painting the soffits or anything up higher, I'm not dropping that trim color down onto the walls. Now next up, we're gonna go through and paint that cornhole slate, I don't know, the green color on the rest of the shop out here. And I'm not super stoked because it's only 47 degrees out today. Now just 2 days ago, it was 86 out when I was laying all that sod, so this is just some Kansas living for you. Why does anybody want to live here? It's kind of a mystery. So 3 years later, I'm finally ready to start going through and painting the body of the shop, and prepping all this stuff and getting all the trim work done just took way longer than I thought it was going to. Not completely my fault, because Mother Nature sucks. In the last 7 days, she went from 91 degrees to 27, back to 82 today. It rained 3 inches yesterday. My ladder's just sinking in all this topsoil, so I don't even think I could have sprayed it with all this sideways wind we've been having too. So I don't know, hopefully in the next couple days or 7, we can go through and wrap this up, because I'm ready to move on to something different. So let's go. Well, we've got 2 sides down, 2 to go. We're just getting ready to start on our second 5-gallon bucket. I say we, me so far, but exciting news today. The better half's gonna come out here and help me for a couple hours and see how much we can get done. It's always nice to have that extra set of hands. Yep. Hey boo, ready to paint? SLP. Sexy lady parts?
You can't use that.
Speech language pathology, okay. That's close enough. So I hear you're gonna have us repaint the door already?
Absolutely, that's gonna be a dark green color, yes.
I guess not repaint, it's just paint it the first time. All right, let's get after it. Hey, what'd you just do?
I didn't do anything wrong.
Huh.
Unsafe working conditions.
She stepped on it.
I tripped on it, flipped over.
Yeah, well.
Like peanut butter toast. Upside down.
It happens. Good job, Boo. Coat number 1 complete.
We did it.
That's right. That sucked, but one more coat and we're done. Well, the shop is officially painted, and I gotta say it turned out pretty snazzy. Now, it took way longer than I thought it was going to. Some of that was on me, a lot was Mother Nature. Started painting on this thing, and then we got a bunch of rain, started painting again, then winter hit, and it sat for several weeks. I had to wait around till I got, better temps. Once I did, then I just kicked it in high gear, went as fast as I possibly could, and got this thing wrapped up. Now, should I have sprayed it? Yeah, I probably should have. It would have been done in a day or two, not a month and a half. But, I truly don't mind the manual labor, putting my earbuds in, listening to some music, daydream about projects I'm never gonna get done. I just kind of find it soothing. Now, the totals, it took me 2 gallons to go through and get all the trim work done, and just shy of 8 for the body. Now, it was probably more like 7 1/4, 7 1/2, but the wife stepped in the paint pail and dumped a bunch, but just part of doing business. Now, the next steps, I need to go through, wrap up the gutters, get the fence back up, get some rock, a culvert, and then, start trenching for electricity. So it may be a little bit until I get some overtime days in, or sell some truck parts or trucks. It's just really expensive. Well, if you guys haven't, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you check out my other videos. They're videos, so yeah. Well, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.